Okay, good evening. Good evening. Wabbit, 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 wabbit. Good evening, my friend. How are you tonight? Thank you so much. So, what was all that? Um, so, let's see. There was, it was a combination of the polybrute, two different sounds on the polybrute, two different patches on the Take 5. Although I was playing the Take 5 using the complete controller for the Poly Aftertouch, and more keys. And let's see, that's awful hot tonight because I had it cranked up while we were doing some tests with Jeff last night. So everything else was VSTs, and let's do this. Let's pop it up and I'll give you a brief tour. There's a lot of stuff loaded up in Ableton Live tonight because there's some stuff to talk about other than just what was in the jam. But let's see. We had a whole bunch of stuff loaded up here. I had an instance of Pigments here doing the drone that you're hearing now. And I can't see what I'm looking at. Make that bigger. Let's see. So there's a Pigments instance running this patch, and all the patches are original patches, by the way. Or no, I take that back. They're not tonight. Many are original or modified. So anyway, this one's an original. It's running that drone, and then over here we've got another instance of Pigments. And I'm not sure where this particular patch is from. I guess I could look, couldn't I? Maybe not. It's not a user track. I'm not a user patch, and it's not telling me where it is, so I'm not going to worry about it. Anyway, it may be a factory patch that I've modified. I know it's modified because it's got the little star by it. Let's see. Over here we've got another Pigments, and this one is one of mine, an original, and it's all analog engine. And next up, Bassline is Bassline is an instrument rack that's got two instances of Pigments in it. Each one doing a different bass sound, but they're layered together. This one's all Wavetable stuff, and the other one is this guy, also in Pigments, and a similar patch. This particular patch is from Signs of Life, in his one of his latest two preset packs for Pigments. Full of amazing sounds. And finally, we got another Pigments patch. And noticing a theme here. This is another one from Chris at Signs of Life. And I didn't do anything with this one. This is a beautiful patch. And it was playing one of those, it was playing the higher ARP. Here, we'll go ahead and let that rip for a minute. And then the only thing I did beyond its stockness was run it into Valhalla Supermassive for some extra verb. Yes, I like Pigments. I like Pigments a lot. It's probably one of my favorite VSTs because it's so flexible. I mean, there's so much that you can do with it, and I mean, it can be almost anything you want it to be. And I say almost because there are a few things it doesn't do, but it's very versatile. And this next one, surprise, surprise, another Pigments patch. The lead here is yet another Pigments patch. So that was, and that was this guy here. So that's out of Pigments, running through an instance of Beam by Lunacy Audio. We talked about a little bit about Beam last week with the new time module or plugin or whatever, or node. And this is an original setup. It says default because I haven't saved it. One of the things I really do like about, and this is interesting, what I really do like about Ableton Live is when you save, when you save your project, most everything about every preset or every plugin in it is saved along with it. The thing about tonight's setup for tonight, all of these are sounds that I used in the Gallimaufry Jam yesterday, and they were in a completely different project, and all I did was imported them into this project, and all the settings, everything else came right along with it, which was really neat. I wasn't quite expecting that. I was expecting to have to redo some stuff. So that's pretty much everything that was in the Jam. I did not use Vital or Kontakt in the Jam, but they're here loaded up because I want to talk about them later. The only other thing was some drums that came off just a loop. Nothing fancy there. Actually, I take that back. It isn't right off the loop. I modified the loop, so because I wanted to add some stuff to it. Not sure what that click was. I think my chair is going to drop me on the floor. Anyway, so that was in the Jam. That was what was in the Jam, and like I said, most of it from stuff that was used last night or yesterday afternoon, I guess, in the Gallimaufry group jam, and that was a lot of fun. I will make sure that the video from that is linked in the description below later, and it'll probably come up as the end card at the end of this video. Definitely some good stuff going on there. We had a lot of fun experimenting with a lot of new stuff. Some of which was the new chat that you see. Jeff started running this new chat piece for the overlays, and I gave it a try here. It's actually not designed to be used the way I'm using it, of course, but it seems to be working okay. I don't have quite all the functionality with it that I would like, but yet. But I think it looks better than what I was doing before so far. It's not quite set up right yet. I just put it in during lunch today, so I didn't really have a whole lot of time to perfect everything. But yeah, it was worth setting up. So another thing that we tried that was interesting and a lot of fun in the Jam yesterday was the ability to actually have folks viewing the stream see all of the performers on all of the streams, and that mostly worked really well. So again, something else to take a look at from yesterday. I had it set up so that I had it in a little box in the corner, or in the upper right hand corner where I usually stick the overlays. Let's see. So see if I can do this without breaking anything. That actually caused me to make two different kinds of setups for that. Not sure this is going to work. Oh, yep, here we go. So now I've got two different sizes for these corner boxes. Let's see. Do that here. So I've got a big one now, and then I've also got a small one. So I used the big one yesterday so that I could put shots from all four of us up in that area, up there. So anyway, lots of cool tech stuff went on yesterday, and for the most part, everything worked the way we wanted it to, which was pretty darned impressive, if you ask me, and pretty surprising in some ways too. So that's that. Let's see what else for tonight. I had a couple a couple of things lined up. I had wanted to. I've been talking a lot over the last few weeks about wavetable synthesizers, and you know, their VSTs, and there being so many of them now, and all this, and it came to my attention that somewhere along the lines, that not everyone might know what a wavetable synth is, or even what a wavetable is. So I thought I might take a moment, real quick, and just kind of give the the very high level view of what that's all about, for those who may or may not know. It's a concept. It's kind of for programmers. It's kind of analogous to an array, and I guess it's best to kind of show what's going on. So I'm going to load up over here in the other window. I'm going to try and load this up. I don't want that to happen that way. I thought I had something loaded on here, and I do. Okay, so I'm going to... Oh, I should have loaded it. I can skip that. I'm trying to get Audacity to load on my other window, and I neglected to quit. That crashed. Okay, here we go. Skip, and I'm doing stuff that you're not seeing, obviously. But I want to get this loaded up, and let's see here. So let's go ahead and put the computer up on the screen. I'm going to take the downstream key off with it, so the chat will go away. Well, actually, it can probably stay for now. So here we have Audacity, and let's make it a little bigger. And I'm going to open up. I've hidden the thing I was going to open up, so let's stick that over there for the moment. I say let's stick it over there for the moment. And so let's open up a basic wavetable. And what a wavetable is basically an audio file with a whole bunch of waveforms, single shot waveform or waveforms lined up in them. These happen to be single shots, but they're all glued together. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit about what's going on here. And as we move across this file, you can see we start with a sine wave in this case, and we go through triangles, and then various and sundry other modifications of the waveform. And basically there's 256 segments here, or frames as they're called. In this case, it's fairly simply 256 copies of the waveform, or 256 waves. That's waveforms. Let's put it that way. And so this, when you divide this by 256, this constitutes a table of waves. And they're just offset at the starts so that you have the first wave, the second wave, the third wave or frame, fourth, fifth, sixth, etc., all the way on down through the line. So as I said, this is a basic simple one. They can also be very complex, like this one, but the same basic idea is going on here. If we zoom in, you can see that things sort of repeat from time to time. Now this one's a little harder to tell what's going on. So if we zoom it up real big, though, here we see the first sine wave, and that's the first wave that's in this table to about here. If we slide over, which is going to be a little tricky, but because I'm zoomed in so tight, but here you see from here to here is the second frame. And this goes on through the entire file. Again, there's 256 of them in there. And so what this allows you to do, and you can see different shapes and all kinds of different things going on here. So what this allows you to do, and we'll bring one of these up into Vital, because it's easy to show in Vital. And let's get our Vital window open here. Find it. It's very small on my screen right now. Okay, and that's hidden under there. Let me get this bigger so I can see what I'm doing. And boom, okay. So here we've got Vital, and I've actually, that first one we looked at, that basic one, I've already got that loaded up here in the Wavetable, in the first oscillator in the Wavetable. And so I'm going to switch this out of 3D mode and into 2D mode, and see here's that sine wave. Now as I slide the frame through, you'll see that it morphs between all the different waves. And if we play this, see if this is going to work for me. Oh, it's got too many things it wants to play. Here we go. Let me get this looking at the right thing. And that's going to be with this keyboard. Oh, I still got to turn this other thing off. Hang on. So many buttons to press, so little time. There we go. Make sure nothing else surprising is going to happen here. That should be good. Okay. So now we hear just our sine wave. Now as we move through this table with the position, we hear the different sounds. Now, one of the things that we do in wavetable synthesis is we can automate that to sweep through the whole thing. So what we can do very simply, just a simple way to do it, is we'll take this low frequency oscillator and we'll tie that to the position. And so now as I play, let's slow it down because it's going to be ripping. As I play now, you can hear it move through the waveform, or through the wavetable. And that gets more interesting with more interesting waveforms. So if I pull this back up, let's drop this one, the other one that we were looking at in here, like so. Now you can do the same thing with this, and we'll move through that same, we'll move through the wavetable with this one. That's actually a really annoying sound. So let's try this other one. This one might be a little more pleasing. So you can see as the LFO sweeps the frame up, we get the various different hair clippers, something like that. Yeah, it was a pretty annoying sound. So we can then further, once at this point we're basically using a subtractive synth, a standard subtractive synth. We've got a filter. We can put a filter on this, kind of calm it down a little bit. Let's open it up a little bit. But you still hear that motion, and I'm going to change this waveform. Just for now, make it a square wave. And I need to take more of that drone out, make it a little easier for you to hear what's going on. And we can do all kinds of other crazy stuff with this to make pretty much any interesting noise that we would want to make. And I can say, and grab some of the other things that I've done instead of going and making one here. Now I've done that. I've done that before. In fact, let's use one of the ones that I made online before. probably, oh, this one would be good, probably. Although it says metal in the name, that's probably ugly. Let's try this one instead. So here you can see I've got 3 different wavetables loaded up. We can put them in 3D so you can get an idea of how these wave shapes change throughout these tables. And I've got all kinds of automation to move things around with them. So as I play them, so anyway, that is that's wavetables and wavetable synthesizers in a nutshell. If you want a really deep dive into how it all works in all the glorious detail, Starsky Carr did a most excellent presentation on wavetable synthesis, and highly recommend you check it out, and I will link it again in the show notes below. So that's again, that's the wavetable thing in a nutshell, and that's about that. Let's see. So other stuff going on. Well, new version of Native Instruments Complete came out. I did buy it. Very happy that I did, although I have not really had any particular amount of time to play with it yet. But I did want to highlight a couple of interesting, or I think interesting, features in it. It's really, they really have done some interesting things, I think, with Complete, and specifically with Kontakt. So let me set something up here. We'll go ahead and put Kontakt up on the screen. The new version. This is Kontakt 8, and one of the more interesting instruments in it. I don't think we need all that stuff over to the left, so let's slide that out a little bit. And we'll make this bigger. One thing that's huge is it's now somewhat resizable, which it wasn't before. It lets you expose a few things you couldn't before. So this is a new instrument that comes as a Kontakt instrument called Conflux. It's a pretty interesting one. Uh-oh, we've lost the chat, it appears. Okay, so the old chat thing stopped working. Stand by for me a second while I get chat back up. I'm going to take that out. And where's my mouse? Oh, my mouse isn't on that machine. What if I pull this to the foreground and restore that to there? Okay, well, chat is not doing well tonight. Let's see here. Let me kill off all this extra stuff that's involved in it. Sorry, guys. Let me kill that. Kill that. Kill that. Kill that. Kill that. Okay, back over to that. Okay, well, I'm going to put the old chat back up here in a second. Let's see, you're going to see a bunch of warnings about disconnections and reconnections. Unfortunately, I don't have much control over that at this point. But, oh, and I've screwed up the size of the thing. Isn't that nice? Oh, well. Oh well. Guess that is what it is. Put that there. There, that'll look a little better. And it looks awful over the. This is the old one. Looks awful over the. Yeah, I see you're still there. It lost. It lost for some reason. Um, chat was YouTube was not able to maintain a connection with itself. I'm not sure what that's all about, but anyway, I'm going to take that out for the moment. I can see the chat on my screen, on a screen over here, so we won't lose that. All right. So anyway, back to the new version of um, the new version of Kontakt, and this couple of neat new features that they've put into it. Um, let's see, what's going to be the best way to do this? I'll pop that up there so I can see anyway. And pigment overload. And maybe it's upset that I turned pigments off. I don't know. So anyway, this is this conflux thing, and so it's got it's an interesting instrument uh, from Native Instruments, and I'm going to set up another thing here. That's going to be on number 2. We're going to get some PTZ action here for you in a second, Wabbit. I need to go to here and to here and to here. And that should be on the screen now. Yes. Okay. So you can basically, well, again, one of the really nice things about the Native Instruments stuff is how it presents itself on the Complete Control keyboard. And actually, I'm going to make this bigger, which I can do now. That's cool. So anyway, this is actually take it out, get it out of the way for a second here while we look at this. This has a full editor. It's a full synth, you know, a two oscillator synth that works in kind of an interesting way. And I haven't had a whole lot of time, as I said. I've only had a very short amount of time to fool with this since I got it. I've been so much other stuff going on. But you know, you've got the ability to blend between the two synths that or engines that you have going on. You know, there's another oscillator type. There's filters, LFOs, all the usual things that make up a synth. One of the really interesting parts of this of Conflux is this animator section. It actually does some really neat changes over time. I don't think it's very pronounced in this particular patch. But you can hear that when those little sections light up there, you hear that other sound coming in and out. Oh, geez, Wabbit, you're doing that break just in time for me to get into the neat thing about this. So let me move on to that real quick. So one of the other neat things in the neat cool things in two of the neat cool things in this new version of Kontakt are we have tools that we can add to the synths. The first one is called. I'm going to do the second one first. That's called phrases. So I'm just going to grab something at random here. And so what this gives me, that's an interesting, different presentation than what I usually see. So what this is kind of sort of like, yeah, I took the PTZ out because it was in the way. There's the PTZ back. Oh, yeah, okay. Got it now. So these are kind of like harmony bloom in some ways. They call them phrases. And basically there's an octave worth of phrases on each one. If you, here, let's grab the closer shot of the keyboard. So on the keyboard you can see down here, sort of, you don't get all quite the colors because the camera doesn't pick them up as well, but each one of these lights is a different color, corresponds to, each one corresponds to a different phrase. And so if I go back to this, you can see if I hit this, if I hit C here, it's going to load up the first phrase and play it. D hits the next phrase. And that in and of itself is so these, I think these make great, these assisted tools, both now in Native Instruments and also in Ableton Live. That came out with with version 12 of Ableton Live. I think my feeling about them is that they make great starting points for things. Because you can modify these. I mean, this is what's in the preset, but I can take and I can modify the phrases. I can either manually modify them by moving things around within the wheel, or I can randomize them. And so the thought is, to me, they're starting points. So you can take these things and they sound, I mean, this sounds nice, you know. They're interesting. But they may not be exactly what I would want for a particular part. But what I can do with that, and I'm going to go back to the computer screen, but I'm going to take that out because it's in the way. So we can take this now, and I need to look at this big so I can see what I'm doing. So I can take this phrase here. And let me make sure I'm doing it on the right track. I can take this phrase now, and well, you can do that too. I mean, yeah, you can let it play things in the background, but I can take this, and if I grab this little spot right here, I can grab this, and I can drag that into Ableton Live, into a clip in Ableton Live, and now let's move that out of the way. There's the MIDI for it. Okay, so I'm free to modify this MIDI using any of the new tools or old tools in Ableton Live. Here's the other thing. I don't even have to use it on the Kontakt instrument. Okay, I can take this at random now. If I like that, but I don't want that instrument, I can take this over here and drop it on this Vital track, and play it here. And goodness knows what it's going to sound like. So now it's taken on a completely different mood and texture. Still very cool. My gosh, look at all that power that's using. So I find these kind of tools, to me, they're starting points. Is really all they are. And I could take that same thing too. Now that I'm go back, put it back in Kontakt. That's really loud. And I'm not really that fond of that particular phrase. So let's go ahead and delete that. And I'll jump back here into Kontakt. And I did kind of like this one. but it'll, well, maybe not. The nice thing about this too is my project is in D Dorian, and these tools have all picked up the key of the project. So everything it's doing is in tune or in key for the project. So that's another neat thing. And like I said, I can randomize it, come up with something different. How's this sound? Yeah, I don't like that. Pick up a different one. And let's say I like this, I can go ahead and I can again drag this into the Kontakt track, and now I can come down here and say, like, let's try this with a different sound. You know, I can come over here and say, okay, back down to this and go to my instruments, and whoops, where'd I go? I lost my thing here. Conflux, get a patch. Yeah, it might sound good. So we load that up. I've still got this set of phrases, or this particular phrase. So now I can go ahead and play that. And that sounds truly awful. But but you get you kind of get the point. It gets this entire experimental playground going on. So the other thing you can do, there's the other tool. And let's see, let's go ahead and delete the phrases tool for the moment. The other tool that they have is chords. So let's see, I can find a chord set that it comes up with. They have a ton of presets. We'll load that up. So now I've got a whole slew of an octave worth of chords. Same concept. You know, now this, for some reason this time it didn't pick up my key, and I'm not sure why, but we can certainly just change it. You see that as I'm changing the keys, it's adjusting the chords, and now these will be correct for playing within D Dorian. And in here you can humanize them a little bit, so you can change the velocity of the different notes and whatnot, and you can tell it to strum the chord. And just like with the phrase, if I say, this chord's really cool, I'd like to have the MIDI for this chord, I just pick it up and drag it on the track, and there it goes. And I got stuck notes, yay. Okay, that might be a bug. Okay, we'll turn that off. Anyway, that's just a kind of thing that struck me as you know, they're coming up with tools for, I think, both serious composers or who you know, really know their way around but need some starting points or some yeah, who need starting points or whatever. You know, they have. It gives them a nice, it gives them some starting points. The other side of this is that for folks who aren't, who aren't musicians, okay, it gives them a way to make some music, and learn how to make music and learn about music, because when these things, you know, all of these curated chord progressions are done by pros who, you know, they know music, and so that's kind of my take on that. I think it's Oops, didn't want that. Well, that's not what was supposed to happen when I did that. Huh, interesting. Okay, it's going to be one of those nights, I see. Let's make that be the thing, switch that. There we go. So that's, yeah, and they allow folks, you know, and Wabbit, you admit yourself you're not musically trained, but you have a good ear for what things that sound good, and then these things allow you to assemble songs or find something to play, something you can put string together to play over, or experiment with, and I think, you know, quite frankly, I think, and some people are going to give me grief for this, but I think it's better to experiment and come up with stuff and have fun doing it than playing by the rules. You know, and because, I mean, the rules are okay, but it's more fun, I think, just to play. And if these things help people to play, and the more you play and the more you experiment, the more you learn, and the more you learn, all of a sudden you've learned about music. And one of the things that I've always found about music theory, and I had several years of music theory, so I've forgotten most of it, but because it was, you know, 45 years ago, the things that have stuck with me about music theory, and that I find the most useful, is I know how songs are constructed. I don't always follow those rules, but I know those, but I still remember those rules. You know, I understand about progressions, and, you know, and so, so you started, Wabbit, you started playing with just the black keys. There's a lot of great sound in just the black keys. Now, we'll do our brief music, our 2 seconds of music theory. I'm playing tonight. Everything tonight is in D Dorian. It's mostly because stuff is left over from the jam last night, or jam yesterday. We were in D Dorian yesterday. But so what is D Dorian? Let's go to the eye in the sky. Get the shot that I want. So we'll put all right. So we're going to look down at the keyboard. I'll play on this one. So real quick, C major is, and you know, let me get this pointed at something that's not going to sound awful. We'll just take 5. And I know I did something I didn't want to do. Oh, anyway. Yep, I did. I broke it. Hang on a sec while I fix it. Let's get this out of the way. And I want that there. Oh, good. It didn't break. Okay. So, C major. We'll start with C major. C major starts on C. Probably not the best sound to teach C major with, but that's okay, it works. So anyway, that was C major. So D Dorian mode is the second mode. And playing in D Dorian is simply starting on D for D and playing the white keys again. So that's the D Dorian scale. You know, it's also, let me find a better sound here real quick. I'll go back to that guy. Turn the arpeggiator off. So playing the black keys, we'll go to a completely different key and scale. Now, I really want to go down to this F key. That's where I want to go next. But I'm only playing on the black key, so I have to skip it. So where I'll go is I'll go there. I'll go to B, to the B flat. Because the thing that natural run down from here is to there. And that's actually a song. So so I better not play too much of it, or the copyright police will come after me. But yeah, playing on just the black keys can be. Let's take this. You can get some fun stuff there. It sounds good. It just automatically sounds good. You know, there are a few places on the keyboard you can play that just automatically sound good, and they're fun. You know, and it's easy to figure out where you are. You know, so anyway, yeah, playing just the black keys is absolutely a valid thing to experiment with, and heck, Wabbit, write a song. You know, do the deal, record it, let's hear it. And apologies if you did play it, do a video and I haven't seen it yet. It's been a busy work week, and I'm woefully behind on keeping up with people's videos and what's been going on in chatters and whatnot. And speaking of it being very busy, I do have a very early morning tomorrow, going into DC to work. So I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover tonight, though. Let's see. I got the I do have one other thing. I wasn't going to do this, but I think that maybe I will, at least for a moment. Somebody, and I'm not going to name any names in my response here, but somebody got on and decided that you know, in his wisdom, he would tell us all that all of us who have bought synthesizers are being scammed. And again, I wasn't really going to respond to this, but I kind of sort of feel like I have to in some ways, because I have expensive synthesizers. Not the most expensive synthesizers, but you know, my the stuff over here to my left, you are right, out of shot right now. It's a sizable investment as far as I'm concerned. You know, and here's the deal. I love these things. And I do not feel in any way, shape, or form like I've been scammed or ripped off. Could I do much of what these do in software, or maybe with less expensive instruments? Sure. Why not? But these I like. I like these instruments. I chose them. Well, the Polybrute kind of chose me, but that's another story. I chose the Take 5. Over all the other synths in the store that day. I have no regrets about buying the Polybrute. I have stuff over here that I don't play as much, that I've paid money, you know, that I bought, and I don't regret spending any of the money on those. I don't regret buying the Op 6. I'm still on the fence about the Wave State. I kind of wish I'd bought the Mod Wave instead, but you know, that's the way that goes. But I don't feel like I've been, you know, the Op 6 and the Wave State, they're Raspberry Pis in a box with a custom set of controls wrapped around them. I got news for that dude. That's been the way a lot of high-end keyboards have been for years, maybe even decades. In fact, I know decades that it's been that way, that a keyboard has been a computer playing custom software with a custom box wrapped around it. You know, that's the way it is. You know, and he had the nerve in my, now I'm fired up. Now I'm fired up. I went there. He had the nerve to smugly sit there in his studio railing about computer-controlled synthesizers or synthesizers with computers in them while he was sitting right in front of one of the early ones that had a computer in it to handle all of the control. So my thing is, where does he get off? You know. Anyway, my blood pressure's up. That's probably about as excited as you'll ever hear ever hear me on this channel. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, that's that. Buy more synths, and you know, buy what you love. If you love software, and I love software too, I really do. You know, I've been using software synths as long as there have been software synths. So, you know, I love them both. They both have their place, and I don't feel in the case of any of the hardware or any of the software that I've bought over the last 45 years that I've been scammed or ripped off or anything. So that's that. Let me set this thing back up to play some music, and that's what I'm going to do. So that's that. Thanks for coming. I'm going to play music for a few minutes, and then I'm going to go to bed. So thanks a lot. Talk to you soon. Wabbit, we'll see you. Anybody else who's hanging around who stayed through that? Oh, there's still some people here. I didn't scare them away. That's good. Wabbit, you take care too. Anyone else who's out there and who's silently pondering, thanks for coming. Appreciate it. And I'm going to press a bunch of buttons down here on the desktop and make this thing do its thing. Let's see. I'm going to want that turned on, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that. And I'll do it like that. Okay, that's it. I'm going to play some music. Thanks, guys. See ya. Yeah, it worked. Cool.